I just had an after bacon shower. I don't eat bacon, but I was fed, given Marie Callender's pot pie with a small amount of bacon inside of it itself. I did like it because I liked the corn in it, but I didn't like the bacon, of course, because it's no pork, is my food rule. I was elsewhere observing. I was a vegetarian, but nobody knows why I am a vegetarian. I am not a vegetarian for the same reasons that you are vegetarians and vegan of sorts. This is organic milk. Sometimes you can find this at a health food store. I believe this one is from Smith's, but somebody gave it to me, so I wasn't there when they bought it. But I do believe it's from Smith's supermarkets in Las Vegas, Nevada. I don't have karma to be here in the money, but I'm talking a little about myself because I am homeless. It's not true that I know you that way. It's true that I don't know you that way, and I don't have a karma to be here. For what it's worth, Charles Toe did serve me vegetarian food, but I am not a vegetarian historically. My mom figure Donna does sit across the table in a restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, from Charles Toe and doesn't tell Charles Toe that she cooked meat for me for 15 years. So there's no reason for Charles Toe to be a selected sex offender who cooks vegetarian food for Becky. She didn't say anything, but I think I would say it was alive that way for me. That's what I can say, but she's not talking about what's alive that way with herself. My mom figure, she didn't say that to Charles Toe, and I'm thinking we all didn't know what to say to Charles Toe at the early greetings with my parents because Charles Toe is the one who refused to leave the property in dispute with the landlord's office, and he did something I think is selfless, which is trespass in a landlording with an office that gave out a key to myself, and they charged me rent for the lease agreement to be there. And I don't know why someone would trespass in that mess because it was a thick mess after that fell through in Madison, Wisconsin, I don't know, about 18 times and threatening. And Charles Toe just walked in like he didn't care and refused to leave. And it's true that I'm not going to be the driver to pick him up at McDonald's if he's going to refuse to leave the apartment. That's not only not in a walled-in prison or not in a prison camp with a deceased address, but it's also he's asking myself to conspire against the landlord. And it's true, I did speak for the landlord, but he ignored me once he found that no one was telling him to get out of the apartment except I was telling him that I was ready to take him home to another place, wherever he stays. And it's true that I'm not a driver for him to be there, and the creation did move around himself. It didn't move around myself, and I don't want to help you. I don't know why it did that. From my point of view, I just don't see it that way. I have to do the crime of paying the landlord, and I can't pay a landlord that I'm not allowed to be there because there's a trespasser in the apartment the landlord won't remove. Is that what I need to tell him over the phone when he calls me? The phone rang in, and I died. The phone rang in Highlands Apartments on November 17th, year 2001, and I'm right here in the year 2025, which is exorbitant interest, and I didn't survive that he called me and the phone rang in and the superior founder died, which is beneath myself, but it's true that I must have the order upholding itself. The superior founder can't ring in a phone call that's going to execute my leverage to pick up the phone with this body and use my hand to say hello to the receiver this way. I just can't help you that you have these kind of problems. I moved the creation for 25 years in this direction over the phone ringing in, and I just don't afford it. I'm supposed to move the creation when I use the phone, when I dial the phone. It's not supposed to ring in and execute myself. Who's calling? Who's going to execute myself? I'm not supposed to pick up the ringing phone when it could be mom or dad who are also appointing the rent money. The ringing phone that was appointing the rent money that the office received and gave a receipt for, that is what executed just myself. And I don't think that's fair because it was alive that way for me and I didn't complain. I wasn't in my original house. I'm very far from there. Well, I'm not going to die for just anything. I just happened to be alive in a disaster when I was 24 years old. I'm just going to say I don't want the whole alive of myself, even though I put all of myself into alive. It was a lot of my effort and I want to say threatening. I made threats and I lost everything over and over again. Just for myself deceased, and I was deceased anyway when I was entering into this God form and alive. It's entering into alive as deceased. It's disclosed as deceased at the end of alive because I'm disclosing my leverage here. And I would normally do that elsewhere, but it's not safe to be here. I'm doing it here and it's not consumed that I'm elsewhere. There's nobody here that's consuming that I have an afterlife with this God form. And I am going to lose that it's female genitals on myself. But it's true that there are people who are looking for me in the female genitals with their questions, and that's not deceased yet. That some people who are offending my female genitals, they are not myself. They abominated myself. They don't speak I, he, she in the threatening, like such as Mitch doesn't acknowledge that he didn't pay my rent. He doesn't say that. He says something like, I went to law school and you need to pay rent. It's good to pay rent. You have to pay the rent. That's legal to pay the rent. And that's true that Mitch didn't pay the rent by telling me that he went to law school. It's true that he has to pay the landlord is his own landlord. And if he doesn't have any money for the landlord, he's got another problem. Well, that's him not talking about all those things I just said because he just told me that I should pay the rent myself and left. And that's what I feel about all the people who owe money to the threatening that I'm making, that I don't have appointed money in my name and I find it elsewhere. And if you just say, no, you're not going to pay it, and you don't give a reason why, because you don't acknowledge that you ever had any self in the rent, you don't acknowledge that you are a self, you don't acknowledge that you owe a debt, you don't acknowledge that you know when you owe the debt, to who and where and why, you don't acknowledge that, and you don't go to jail and prison because you don't want to pay. You don't have a self that way. You're not illegally alive nearly well enough for me to know you. You can't be that close to me. I can't afford to know you. I can't afford to know who you are or where you are or anything about you. I can't afford to have a problem like that in my life because I am here for the threatening that I don't need you. You can't just tell me that you're irresponsible, is deceased, that you're just not you. Listen to how I'm saying it. There's nobody you who's offending myself. There's nobody you in the wrong to myself. There's nobody say you who did something against their own self from my point of view. I don't have any sort of speaking here because that's all deceased. And I just gave an example of somebody, Mitch, who I find in the wrong in the landlording here. And it's true that he just walked off, and I can't help that. He didn't have interest in the landlording. I didn't tell him that I needed him to be here for any reason. I didn't tell him that I needed anything. He came here and he created more damages to my deceasement. And that's not true that I'm speaking that wrong. You can hear me that I say, Mitch created damages to myself deceased, to my self's deceasement. That does speak. But if I say, Mitch, you, or Mitch, he's something who did something wrong to myself, you don't hear that. It doesn't speak. It's not alive. It's not formed. There's something wrong with what that is. It's not just Mitch. It's Donna. It's Hans. It's everyone with the last name Moser. And you're not myself. You're not Moser. I didn't name you Moser. You're all in the wrong that way. You all use your signatures Moser, but I didn't name you Moser. I don't know how you got the name Moser. I don't even know how you knew it, that the school named me Moser at school. I can't go into that with you because we're so far away from K4 I was 4 years old when I got the last name Moser. And it's true that I can't help you with that. Was it 3? It's K4, um, kindergarten age 4, and I think you go in there when you're 3 years old and you turn 4 when you're in K4. So I turned 4 in that school year, and I got the name Moser sometime around when I was in K4. I don't know when in the year. That's a long time ago. That would have been the year 1981, 82. Mrs. Plesko from Dunwood Elementary School. She gave me the last name Moser, and she gave me the birthday February 27th, 1977, and I knew that's not alive for me. What was wrong with the birthday I really had? I wasn't a baby when I was born, and everybody's birthday starts with when they were a baby. And that's Mrs. Plesko. You can thank Mrs. Plesko. Everybody, look at your driver's license. Do you see your own birthday on there? Mrs. Judith Plesko, you're the one who put a driver's license birthday. For everybody with a driver's license has a birthday because of you. And including birthdays of school kids, and they may grow up to get a photo ID. School youth, they're also having a birthday because of Mrs. Plesko. Yeah. Say thank you because she's hysterical. She didn't want to stop being a kindergarten teacher. She wanted to put that kind of leverage down on myself. That's really too much leverage for me not to be there. It was due for me to be there. What's wrong is that I didn't go there as God. I was sent to school, sort of. Donna, my mom figure, she wasn't yet my mom figure, but she pointed outside, indicated that the bus was outside. It was stopped in front of the house. Yeah, it's true. She did point out that the school bus was stopped in front of the house, but I can't afford that somebody might have reported that I was in the house and and put me on registration for school. I'm none higher than me deceased. I don't need to be educated. But anyway, I had fun.